This is the story of Moses, and you can find this story in the second book of the Bible, called Exodus. Do you remember Joseph? He was a great leader and saved his people from famine. In fact, he brought his whole family from Canaan to live in Egypt. Joseph died. Many years passed, and there was a new Pharaoh who was king over Egypt. And this new Pharaoh forgot all about the good that Joseph had done to the Egyptians. Instead, he looked at the Hebrews and saw how many there were, and he became afraid of them. He warned his people that if war came, these Israelites might side with their enemies and leave the country. So instead of doing good to the Hebrews, the Egyptians forced them to become their slaves. Tough slave masters made them build the cities of Pithom and Ramesses. But despite their poor treatment, God was with them, and the people of the Hebrews grew bigger and bigger and more and more. And the more they grew, the more the Egyptians brutally forced them to work even harder. There were two midwife ladies who were Egyptians, and they were very good people. They used to help the Hebrew women when they had their babies. Their names were Shiphrah and Puah. Now Pharaoh summoned these two ladies and gave them strict instructions to kill all the baby Hebrew boys who were born. They could let the little girls live. But the midwives feared God more than Pharaoh, and they let the baby boys live. Pharaoh summoned the midwives. "Why haven't you killed the baby boys, as I commanded you?" he said. "The Hebrew women are much stronger than the Egyptian women," they replied. "The baby boys are alive and well by the time we get there." Then Pharaoh did something really awful. He gave orders to his people that every baby boy born to a Hebrew woman must be thrown in the river Nile. There was a man and his wife from the tribe of Levi who had a baby boy. They hid him away from the Egyptians for 3 months. The mother's name was Jochebed. As the baby grew older, it became harder and harder to keep him hidden. So Jochebed came up with an idea to keep her baby safe and out of sight. She got a basket made from papyrus leaves and covered it in tar and pitch to make it waterproof. She put the baby in the basket and carried it down to the river Nile. Her young daughter Miriam helped her. Jochebed quietly hid the basket in tall bulrushes by the side of the river. Her daughter Miriam kept watch over the baby from a distance. With a heavy heart, Jochebed went home, but I'm sure she was praying that God would keep her baby safe. God answered her prayer in a very unexpected way, because Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to bathe. She spotted the basket in the reeds and sent one of her attendants to fetch it. When she opened the basket and saw the baby was crying, she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Hebrew babies," she said. Miriam, who had been watching, came up to the princess. "Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?" she asked. "Yes," replied the princess. Miriam ran to get her mother. "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you," said the princess. So Jochebed looked after her little baby boy until he was old enough to be taken to the princess, where he was brought up as her son. The princess named him Moses, an Egyptian word which means drawn out. "I drew him out of the water," she told everyone. And little Moses grew up in the palace. But God knew all about him.